Hours before Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, Cavs and Bulls, the matchup that so many were looking forward to in the East. Getting you all set for that, Chris Fedor, Chris Haynes, Joe Vardon here at Cleveland Clinic Courts in Independence. Cavs finished up shoot-around moments ago, Chris, and one of the things that has been talked about when it comes to LeBron James and David Blatt and Kyrie Irving and the other players, the 8-day layoff from the time that they swept the Boston Celtics to today. How much do you think that's going to play into tonight's game, if at all?
Well, we'll see early on. You don't know. We know David Blatt, he said there was some level of concern on his part with the layoff. That's a lot of time in between. The Chicago Bulls played 2 games during that period. The Cavs had a lot going on in that week. Kevin Love was out, J.R. Smith being suspended. And so, yeah, I can understand his part. But the players, LeBron James and Kyrie and Shump in particular, they came out and said they was ready to get out there on the court. So it's an anxious level with them. So, we'll see. We'll see how they come out early part of the game. And I think that would dictate, I believe, how that for Game 1 goes.
The Bulls are tough, they're physical, they're defensive-minded, and Joe, obviously, Chris mentioned, no Kevin Love tonight. He's not going to be here for the rest of the postseason run. No J.R. Smith for the first 2 games. How does that change what LeBron James has to do for this team?
Well, I don't know how much it changes for what he has to do. I mean, I think LeBron has to exert himself. What I think this may mean is you may see a team in the Cavaliers that's a little bit more defensive-minded than perhaps we'd seen in the past. When you go all the way back to January and they made the trades that they made, the idea was to get a lot better defensively. And they did. They got better. But they ended up spacing the floor so well with J.R. Smith that it's almost like they became kind of an offensive first team. Now that Iman Shumpert has to start and Kevin Love's not going to be there for the duration, you might see them try to almost go toe-to-toe more with the Bulls and slug it out down low, and so to whatever degree LeBron can be an impact there, it'll help them.
The 2 teams met 4 times in the regular season. Chris, is there anything that we can glean from those 4 regular season meetings, or do you think this is going to be entirely different between these 2 teams tonight?
I think it's entirely different because this team is the Chicago Bulls. They're whole right now. They're probably the healthiest they've been all year. Derrick Rose is almost close to form, if not form, as of now. But there's not much you can take from that series. During the regular season, what we see in Game 1, I think we're going to see a little bit of chippiness. Joe Noah, they've been barking, saying some things leading up to this game. Joe Noah talking about how much he loves the city of Cleveland, just trying to get under everybody's skin, the city, the players. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Cavaliers fall victim into that type of, chirpiness, chippiness. They can't afford to do what they did in Boston. You can't afford to lose guys to suspension and things like that. It's too deep in the playoff process right now, and you just don't need anybody else going down. So I want to see how they react to that type of adversity.
Joe, everybody knows for the Cavs, other guys are going to have to step up in the absence of Love and J.R. Smith. It's got to be more than Kyrie, and it's got to be more than LeBron. Give me a guy that you're really keying in on for this series in particular against Chicago.
Well, I like Iman Shumpert because I feel like he represents an opportunity to win but do it differently. He fits into everything I was saying before. More defensive-minded first, more, I would say, athletic, more of a slasher. So I've got my eye on him. There's been a lot of talk all week, and it's been a long week, a long layoff. But, is it going to be James Jones? Right. Is it going to be Mike Miller, Sean Marion? All 3 of those guys have done it in the past. All 3 of them have had kind of so-so years. James has probably been the best of the 3. It'll be interesting to see how much their experience carries them and who among them steps forward.
Give me the guy of those 3, Joe, that you think has the best chance to step up and have one of those moments.
Well, my dad, who knows very little about basketball, has a good feeling about Sean Marion. Okay. So I guess we could go that route. Mike Miller has done this a couple times, and he's probably had the worst season of the 3 of them. But he's had experience in the finals, having disappeared and then having in the regular season and come back and done great. So I'll say him.
Chris, we're going to flip it over to the Chicago Bulls. 2 All-Stars this year, Jimmy Butler and Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol, a big pickup this offseason for Chicago. Derrick Rose, as you mentioned, back. Jimmy Butler, the leading scorer for the Bulls in the series against Milwaukee. A guy besides Butler and Rose, maybe, that could step up and have a big series for Chicago.
Not mentioning Gasol as well. Taj Gibson. I love that guy. He's always a six-man candidate. He's a big who provides a level of toughness and tenacity down there on that post. And with Kevin Love being out, you're going to see probably some James Jones, some Sean Marion getting their chance at shot at Taj. And we saw during the regular season when that happened. James, it was ironic that they had to go small. I believe Kevin Love didn't play. It was his eye during the Chicago Bulls game. They start putting James Jones out there on Taj. Taj went to work. So if he see that, that's what they call mouse in the house. You see that? That's when he's going to get down to work, going to get in the post, and he can probably impose his will, and that set his whole game off for the rest of the series. So I think Taj is probably going to be that guy.
Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals tonight, Cavs and Bulls. Chris, the Cavs coming confident. That's radiating from LeBron and all the other players leading into this one, coming off the sweep against Boston. Even without Kevin, they seem confident. Are there reasons to be confident going into this one against Chicago still?
Yeah, I mean, they have LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, so definitely there's a reason to be confident. All these guys, when you play at this level, you reach this point in your career, you have to be confident because you did something to get here. But with that being said, Chicago Bulls are looking pretty rough over there, looking pretty tough over there. They're looking whole, and you said 2 All-Stars. Really, if you look at the whole, that's 3 All-Stars over there, Derrick Rose. So should they be concerned? I understand. Should they be confident? Yes, but Chicago's confident as well.
Joe, prediction for Game 1. Give it to me.
Oh, boy. I think the rust factor is going to shine through. I think if the Bulls have a chance to get one, it would be tonight. That's about as far as I can go with it.
All right. You?
I'm going to have to go with Joe. I think the Bulls get one, and I think they win it decisively. I really think this is the game to catch the Cavs off guard.
Okay. And if the Cavs go down 0-1 in this series, what do you expect to happen moving forward? Do you think that's something that's going to carry over? Or do you think that's something that maybe could wake the Cavs up and say, hey, we've got a series here?
It depends on how they lose Game 1, if they lose Game 1, because they have to get this out of their system. They don't know what they have out there. They don't know how everybody's going to mesh. So they have to see what's working, what's not working. And like I said, it depends on how they lose because little minor things can be changed and adjusted on the fly. And they can come out in Game 2 and just be the Cavs of old. So, we'll see.
If you guys recall, all through the first series, I was saying over and over again how the Cavs needed to sweep Boston so they can get one in under their belts without any drama because there's a lot of drama coming down the road. I'm telling you, the drama is knocking on the door.
All right. There's Joe's prediction. We got Chris's prediction as well.
Can we get yours?
Yeah, I think the Cavs win tonight, actually. Okay. And I think the Cavs win this series. I think it goes 6, but the Cavs win because they've got the 2 best players in the series, and they've got home court advantage. We'll see what happens. Game 1 tonight, Eastern Conference semifinals. Cavs and Bulls. Continue to check out cleveland.com/Cavs.